Alright, so today we'll try seeing some of the Nexus basic features, and we'll do all hands-on about the basic management of the Cisco Nexus 7000 platform. The first and the foremost thing that we would like to see is the version, which NX OS version images, and what are the boot files we have here. So NX OS has practically two kind of files which are required to boot. One is a kickstart, which comes first, and then it goes into the boot system file, which is boot system file, and for the next one, the first one is kickstart. Now coming back to that, it tells us what kind of chassis it is. It says Cisco Nexus 7010 10 slot chassis supervisor module, and what is the processor is used. The processor is Intel Xeon CPU with 8 gig of memory, and what kind of additional flash memory it has, for how long it's on without rebooted, and what was the last reason for the last reset. It was a CLI command reload was given, so it was not a crash. And what kind of BIOS do we have in this, and what's the image of that. So very important point here is the image version for the BIOS, the kickstart, and the system image. All of them needs to be the same version. So if we have 6.8.a bin here, we need to have 6.2.8a bin here, and here also we have the same image. It's mandatory to have all the images, or you can really expect some unexpected results when you are doing it. The next thing we would like to see here is a module command. We want to see what kind of module we have, and if the module has any kind of issue or not. So here we have these following modules connected to this Nexus chassis, and we have module in slot number 3. We have a 10 gig module, which is N7K M132XP, and then we have M148 GT module. Both are working fine, so we have OK sign, and we have single supervisor, which is connected in port number 5 here. So here it's connected to port number 5, and that's supervisor 1, soup 1. It's not soup 2 or soup 2e, it's soup 1. In the theory classes, we discuss about the difference between soup 1, soup 2, soup 2e, where I explained the soup 2e can have 9 VDCs including admin VDC, while the other soups have different kind of, and depends on the version NX OS image that you are running. That's also define how many VDCs are possible. Now it does have some fab modules. So here is the information about the fab modules. You have 2 fab modules in port number 4 and 5. Okay, you have no, it's actually the back plane. You have these modules available here. In 7010 you have these modules on the back, while in 7009 platform you have it in the front chassis. So that's the reason, again, in 4 and 5 this module is there. At 4 and 5 in the front, we saw these are the modules 4, 5. In the back slots 4 and 5 we have these 2 modules. So that's alright. So that was module for us, the front module and the back module. Now you have, if you need to reload one of the modules, something goes wrong, you have a command here using power off, and you can choose the module number. Let's say I want to go for 3, and I'll just say that's power off the module number 3. I'm kind of reloading the module here, and if I want to bring it back, I will just say no power off module 3. Alright, take some time, and it's gonna be back here. Cool. Alright, same way we have various other commands. You have banner command here, like you used to have message of the day, and you can choose whatever where you want to choose it. Let's say class, and you can have your banner when you're going to log in into it. You can have that kind of message. You can check your power status, so show environment power. That's very important factor which we generally kind of ignore. Not to be ignored feature. You need to know how much power is being used and how much power you require more. If you are adding more modules, you need to have more power. So here we have two power supplies are there. The middle power supply is absent. As you know that there are redundant power supplies in Nexus 7010. You have three power supply options. Each is around 3000 watts, and you can see here what's the total power there, and then you can also see module wise how much power is used by any of the resource that we have there. So front fans, side fans, and how much power are they consuming. Then you have fab modules. Remember the X bar 4 and 5 on the back I just discussed, and then you have 3, 4, 5 on the front module. So front 3, 4, 5, and then back 4 and 5 fab modules, and so that's the total power available. And what is the power still available? 2350. What's the total power being used? Is this. Alright, so it depends on what kind of module are you adding and how many modules are you adding. In 7010 you can add up to 10 module including the supervisor. So that's about power. You do have an option of choosing the power redundancy options. If you require, you want it in a redundant, or you want to combine all the powers, so you have those options where you can choose that you want do you want a combined power, you want to combine everybody's power, or you want redundant, that one should fail then the second should take over. So all those options are there. Alright, then we want to enable feature, maybe feature telnet or feature. So you really have to say feature telnet. If you want to enable SSH, you have to say feature SSH. But if you are enabling SSH, it's important that you do SSH key generation as well. That's the most important thing. So you can create your key. You can choose the strength you want, or you can. Okay, so it's already there. Do I have the force option? I do. So I can recreate the keys again. So I'm good to do SSH from outside. Alright, now this has got nothing to do with management IP right now. We practically really have to configure our management interface for that, and then only this feature is going to be useful. So how do you configure the management IP? You configure it using interface management 0. You give an IP address to it. In my case, it's going to be something like this. And I can give /24, or you can give 255.255.255.0. Both the options are accepted. And then you really need to see if you can ping, which should not work for you. And you have to choose VRF management. So for management, there is a separate VRF. Okay, it's working. The reason is I have already configured, which shouldn't be there in a default brand new switch. I have already configured VRF default route, and because of that, it's able to go out to the gateway and it's able to ping. So here the command is go to the VRF and alright, so alright, if I look at just trying to ping my default gateway without VRF, I shouldn't be able to ping, because VRF breaks your routing instance into two different instances, so you shouldn't be able to ping. And if I say VRF management, I should be able to go out of the gateway. That's the whole concept about VRF, that it breaks it into multiple different routing instances, virtual routing forwarding instance. And so the next feature we have is very important new feature of Cisco, which is call home. And you can call home as it says. So kind of calling home means not calling home, but calling your office, calling colleagues, or maybe calling home itself. You know, if something goes wrong, you want the Nexus switch itself to inform you about some kind of severity alerts are there, and you want to inform, you have an option of configuring that. So whom do you call and from where do you call? You really can choose, let's say, if you have a contract ID with Cisco and you want to enable Cisco tag, you can actually have a contract ID number, and then you can choose whatever number you have. So in my case, let's say, okay, and then you can have a customer ID. So you have to tell your customer ID, which is given by Cisco to you, or you can have a site ID, which is your own for your own sake, or you can give it a name as well if you want, anything. Maybe let's say here NYC site 2. That's a better name actually. And then I have, you want to give street address. I really don't see a big purpose with that, but that's okay. I mean, some people still do. So you can have email contact of the person. So in my case, it's going to be vikas@networkershome.com, and we can have a phone number. So we really have to find a way how we add India phone number, but we want to have this number. We can have something like this. I think it's going to require a plus. So NANP, North American number planning, is what it's expecting from us, and that's our number. So it's taken that, and you have, then you can create something called destination profile, and I'll say mine maybe NOC, or something like that, destination profile. And you can have it totally depends, what kind of alerts are you looking at. So in my case it was NOC, and I can choose alert group, and I can also choose the severity, or what kind of alerts and where do I want to send, as etc. So that's one of the options. You have a lot of options actually available, and it's an amazing feature, especially that it can send you an email, or it can inform about any kind of severity alert, or any kind of issue that you have in your network. Okay, so you have now transport option, where you can go and to email, and you can choose all that so SMTP server you have to define, and then you can choose reply to, or who's sending from address, and all those options are available. So those are the various options you have available here. All right, what else? Let me check if we have anything left there. So these are very base features. Another important feature for us may be that to check what's the utilization going on, and that can be really important. So I may say show process CPU, and I can check history, what's going on. I think that's an old command. You have detail. Okay, so that shows, there was another beautiful command there which says show system resources. I think that's the command. Sorry, resources. Okay, you can see it's a Intel Xeon dual core processor, where you have two CPUs. So CPU 0, that's the utilization, and CPU 1, that's the utilization. It will be virtualized and will be given into pieces to each VDC that we create in the future. But as of now, there is not much of the load, and there is not much of the stuff assigned to the VDC. So a lot of free resources, a lot of free memory. So that's your CPU, and that's your memory available after booting, and all the BIOS, NXOS images, kickstart, and all that. It's all here. Okay, so that's basically this stuff we have. We want to see how many supervisors, and what's the status of my redundancy in terms of supervisor module. I have an option here I can check. that I have practically, there's no standby. I'm the active, I'm the only supervisor. There's no soup 2 present. It's only soup 1 that's present. So that's kind of for the when it comes to checking the soup module and the redundancy. If you have only one soup, you are at risk. Something goes wrong and the whole thing is screwed up. Alright, I don't see any VDC as of now. We'll discuss that in the new thing. Now I want to show you in the next slide the boot process and creating an admin VDC.